There are things you only dare to share in a group chat at 2 a.m. Moments that make you want to punch the air out of pure frustration, because you can't do anything else. And then there's Reddit, the one place where you can spill everything. From mother-in-laws who think they're the lead in a perfect mom soap opera, to boyfriends who proudly claim to be your first, when in reality they weren't even close. In today's video, you're going to hear stories that are spicier than Korean ramen saltier, than the tears of the people who lived them, and sometimes so ridiculous they almost feel made up. But the best part, every single one of them is true. Story 1. I got thrown up on during a massage, and somehow I'm the one who owes money. I never thought I'd be telling this kind of story. I'm 40. I have chronic pain, and massage is one of the few things that actually help me. So when I book a session, I'm expecting relaxation, serenity, peace, not being puked on. But life doesn't care what you expect. Last week, I booked a 90-minute massage at a well-known spa in my area. The first 20 minutes, amazing. I slipped into that perfect meditative state, the kind where you forget the AC is humming and all you hear is your own heartbeat and the sweet sound of peace. Until, blah! No, not in my head. Not a weird guided sound bath. A full-force volcanic vomit eruption straight onto my neck, shoulders, back, and hair. I froze. My eyes were closed, but my brain was screaming, "No!" I felt the warmth spreading down my back. This wasn't massage oil. And the smell, good God, it was like someone blended rotten eggs, rare steak, and dish soap into a chunky cocktail and sprayed it down my spine. I opened my eyes to see the massage therapist, pale mouth open, hand over her face, like she didn't even know what just happened. She mumbled something like, "I'm so sorry," and ran out of the room, leaving me, naked, slick, soaked in someone else's lunch. I jumped up, shaking, grabbed the tiny towel in the room and tried to wipe myself off, which was useless. I was gagging. I'm not squeamish, but come on. You show up expecting soothing touch, not a barf baptism. I tried to stay calm, changed quickly and went straight to the front desk, just wanting to get out and pressure wash the trauma off my body. But no. Here's the plot twist. The front desk girl stops me with the flattest face you can imagine and says, "Ma'am, you still need to pay for the full 90 minutes. I just stood there." Excuse me. Because you left the session early, it counts as a mid-treatment cancellation. I looked at her, then at myself, still reeking of fresh stomach acid, and said, "So what were my options? Stay and get thrown up on again." She shrugged. "We can clean you up and finish the treatment if you'd like." I almost laughed, or cried. I honestly wasn't sure anymore. I just said, "No, I need to go home and erase this nightmare from my flesh and memory." I walked out, still shaking. But it wasn't over. The next day, I got 3 voicemails from the spa threatening to call the police if I didn't come back and pay by 6 p.m., apparently refusing to sit there and receive additional vomit counts as theft of services. So here I am, asking Reddit, was I wrong? Do I deserve to be threatened for not paying after being vomited on the internet? Responded top comment OP. You should have called the cops. Don't let anyone bully you. Accidents happen, but charging you for it is disgusting. Another said, spitting on someone is assault. Vomiting on someone, that's biological warfare. And honestly, I'm not here to sue anyone. I just wanted a massage. Not to be a background character in Final Destination Spa Edition. So, what do you think? Was I out of line for walking out without paying? Or should they be paying me for trauma dry cleaning and emotional damage? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I genuinely want to hear them. And if you've ever had a weird spa experience or any wild service nightmare, tell me everything. Your story might just help me feel a little less covered in vomit. Story 2. He thought he took my virginity, but reality was far from it. I know what you're thinking. That title. Yeah, it screams drama, and you're not wrong. This is a story about a guy whose ego was taller than he actually was, and a very special night where he truly believed he'd become a monumental part of my emotional and romantic history. We met when I was in 11th grade. He was 2 years older, freshly graduated, wore just enough cologne, and liked to quote random life philosophies that sounded like they were ripped straight from a bad romance novel. But you know how it is when you're a teenager. I thought those lines were deep as hell. About 2 months into dating, he started hinting at taking things further. I wasn't quite ready yet, but he turned up the charm with messages like, "I'll be gentle. You're the one I truly love." And so that fateful night arrived. I was invited to his house while his parents were out. He lit candles, played soft music, poured wine. The mattress was made, the condoms were neatly placed by the bed, like this was a student film trying to imitate a sexy scene, and failing. I was nervous. I even asked him, "Are you sure?" He responded with a smile like I had just asked Ronaldo if he knew how to kick a soccer ball. And then, it happened. Or, didn't happen. Because it all went down really fast. Like so fast that I wasn't even sure anything had actually gone down. Next thing I know, he collapses beside me, breathing hard, whispering, "I love you." Here's the part I don't know whether to laugh or cry about. He never made it in. I'm not kidding. He didn't enter anything he thought he was conquering. Instead, he was, slipping around between my butt cheeks and the bedsheet. And the man truly believed he had taken my virginity. I just laid there stunned. Not from passion, but from complete and utter confusion. I wanted to say something, to gently correct him, to maybe recalibrate his GPS. But then I saw his face beaming with pride, the kind of pride a guy might have after setting a Guinness World Record for shortest yet greatest first time ever. So I nodded, softly said, Yeah, that was something." Then I got dressed and left half embarrassed, half confused, and half wanting to write to condom companies, "Please include a tutorial on where it's supposed to go next time." A few days later, I found out he had told all his friends. Not the truth, but his own Everest Conqueror version of it. His quote. She moaned softly, just like in the movies. I've never seen anyone so natural and perfect. You know what I actually did? I bit into the pillow, trying not to laugh when he missed completely. That was probably the only moan he heard, the sound of me choking back secondhand embarrassment. We broke up not long after for other reasons, not that. And I never said a word. Why, honestly, part of me felt bad. Another part figured let the guy keep his first-time fantasy. If it helped him sleep at night, sure. Years later, I saw him at a class reunion. Chubbier, balding a bit, but still flashing that confident grin as he told me I'll never forget our first time. I smiled and said, "Yeah, unforgettable." Now you might think I should have told him, should have exposed the fantasy. But I don't know. Sometimes silence is the perfect form of revenge. Let him keep his legend. Meanwhile, me and that poor old bedsheet, the only true witnesses to a historic failure, will carry the real story to our graves. What do you think? Should I have told him the truth? Or was staying silent the classiest burn of all? And hey, if your first time was a total disaster, go ahead and share it in the comments. Because trust me, the more we talk about these flops, the less alone I feel about having my sheets get more action than I did. Story 3. My mother-in-law called me a freeloader. Until I moved out, I never thought I'd be the kind of person to tell a story like this online. But after living with my mother-in-law for nearly a year, I think I've earned the right to psychologically detox on Reddit. I'm 29, a freelance designer, not always consistent income, but enough to live comfortably. My husband is a software engineer, high-paying job, but always busy. After we got married, we rented a small apartment close to his workplace. Life was fine, until his mother called. She said her leg was hurting. There was no one to take care of her, and she wanted us to move in for a few months to help her out. Naive me thought, oh, no big deal. We'll help her out, save on rent, and get closer to family. Spoiler alert, I was dead wrong. The first week she was lovely. Warm conversations, home-cooked meals, nostalgic stories. I felt welcomed. Week 2. Why don't you get a real office job like normal people? Week 3. You sit on your laptop all day, probably just watching movies and calling it work. Week 4. Back in my day, I worked a full-time job and still made 3 meals a day. What is it with this generation daughters-in-law who can't even cook? That's when I realized she didn't see me as family. She saw me as a live-in maid who doesn't pay rent. But I tried. I really did. I cooked meals. I cleaned the house. I even scrubbed the floor by hand when the mop broke, to which she said, "At least you're useful for something besides freeloading." I talked to my husband. He sighed. "Just bear with her. She's old. She has her quirks. I'll talk to her." He did talk to her. The result? She skipped dinner and called me the girl who's turning my son against me. As time went on, I mastered the art of silent survival. I cleaned like a ninja, cooked like an invisible chef, worked remotely like a fugitive hacker. No matter what I did, she always found something to mock. Do you even save money or just spend your husband's paycheck? You know, the neighbor's wife opened her own store. She's a real modern woman. That skirt's a bit short, don't you think? We don't dress like that in this family. One time I got sick, coughing non-stop. She knocked on the door and handed me a cup of ginger tea. I thought maybe she's changed. Nope. She said, "Drink this so you'll get better. We need you to cook dinner." I wanted to throw the cup against the wall. After 9 months of living like a house slave allowed to eat at the same table, I snapped. I overheard her on the phone with the neighbor saying, "They've been freeloading here for months." And that wife of his, always on her laptop. No idea when she's going to give me a grandchild. I lost it. That night, I printed out 2 of my most recent design contracts totaling over $8,000. I laid them on the dining table, didn't say a word. She read them, stayed quiet. I asked, "Do you really think I'm a freeloader?" She pursed her lips, didn't respond. But for the first time, she had nothing to say. The next morning, I packed up. My husband told her mom we're moving back to our old place. I don't want this to damage our relationship. She didn't stop us, just raised her chin like, "Fine, leave then." And we did. I've never been so relieved to be back in our small apartment where I'm not judged by what I eat, wear, or how thick my pajama pants are. I don't hate my mother-in-law, but I don't need another full-time toxic parent in my life. She may think I'm ungrateful. But when someone calls you a freeloader while you're busting your ass to earn every dollar and trying to maintain peace sometimes, the best gift you can give them is goodbye. Story 4. Did they try to plant a knife in my luggage? I'm not the kind of person who's overly suspicious, but after that incident, I started second-guessing everything about my girlfriend's family, and I wish I was wrong. But I don't think I am. I'm 24, a mechanical design engineer. I've been living independently since I was 18. My girlfriend is the same age, working on her PhD, her family well off, and extremely involved in her life. I used to think that's just how caring parents are, until I almost ended up in jail because of a rusty pocket knife in my luggage. Here's what happened. I was visiting her hometown to attend a job interview. She was doing research abroad, but her parents invited me to stay with them for a few days. They were kind, warm, cooked for me, chatted a lot, and kept bringing up the idea of me moving in permanently with them to save money while house hunting. I smiled politely and said I'd think about it. But in my head, not a chance in hell. I said thank you, helped clean up after dinner, behaved respectfully. But something felt off. Like every time I reached for a dish, I was being evaluated like I was on MasterChef In-Law Edition. One night, a friend of my girlfriend's invited me to a bar. I was about to go. Her mom gently said, "Going to a bar this late? That's not very appropriate, is it? How will you get home at 1 a.m.? So, I stayed in. After the trip, I flew back home. A few days later, I unpacked for laundry, and that's when I found it. A rusty folding knife in the pocket of my jeans. I froze. I've never owned a pocket knife in my life. I don't collect anything. I don't carry weapons. I had never seen that knife before. I took a picture and sent it to my girlfriend, asking if it might belong to her brother or someone from the house. She was shocked. She sent the photo to the family group chat. And then I saw their responses. Her mom. Huh. I didn't pack anything. And something that dirty, LOL. Think about it, honey. He only had carry-on, not checked baggage. Her dad. Well, look what we have here smuggling weapons now. And he made it through security, too. That's it. No one said, wait, where did that come from? No one asked. That doesn't look like anything we own. Just jokes, laughs, LOL knife alert. That's when it hit me. I flew with that knife in my carry-on, in my pants, and had no idea it was there. I could have been stopped at the airport, fined, detained, possibly charged, and they just laughed. I started to wonder, did someone plant it there? Why? Because I wasn't good enough for their daughter. I told my girlfriend everything and she believed me. But then she got upset that I shared the story with my best friend. She got mad. We argued. And then she told her dad everything. I never said who I thought might have planted it. But if I had a suspicion, it would have been him. Now he knew I had doubts. That was the beginning of the end. A month later, she returned from her research trip. Her family blew up. Her dad found flirty messages on her mom's phone from an old friend. He went ballistic, screaming, breaking things, cut off her credit cards, kicked her mom out. Her mom came back a few days later to collect her things. In the house, all her perfumes had been smashed, and on the bed, a rifle placed between the pillows. My girlfriend was terrified. She cried in my arms. I held her. I thought finally, she sees what I see. But no. Just a few weeks later, she moved back in with them like nothing ever happened. She called me and said everything's fine now. They just misunderstood each other. I lost it. I said, you're being manipulated, and I will never see your family as normal again. She cried. I was angry too. But mostly, I was tired. I loved her. But I couldn't keep pretending with her anymore. I still don't know who put that knife in my luggage. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was deliberate. But one thing I do know, her family is a well-organized disaster. And I'm not about to be the next character in their crime thriller soap opera Season 2 knife gun and a fake smile. And that's what Reddit has blessed us with today. Drama no one asked for, but everyone secretly needed plot twists that make you question reality itself, and petty revenge that's way too satisfying to be real. But yep, still real. If you've ever lived through something like this, drop it in the comments. Who knows? Your story might be in the next episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're the kind of person who reads life one post at a time like I do. See you in the next video where the drama never stops and you never stop watching.